Hey y'all, welcome back to day 2 of Automate Live. We are so excited to have Christelle and Carrie with us this morning. We're going to have a great conversation about education, workforce development, and training. And we're going to kick that off here in a minute. Thanks for joining in to the live stream this morning. If you're in the chat, feel free to drop your questions and we will try to get to those later. But let's get this party started. Christelle, Carrie, thank you so much for being here today. Do you guys want to just introduce yourselves? I know, Christelle, especially, you're all over the place and your content is everywhere. We love that. But tell us a little bit more about yourself and your role at ABB. Carrie, I want you to do the same before we get into the depth of the conversation.
Sure, yeah. So thanks for having me. So excited to be here with Carrie and you, Ann, as well. Good to see you. I'm Christelle Keefer, the Global Business Development Manager for Education at ABB Robotics. So my role really is to partner with teachers, supporting them with the latest and greatest technologies, making sure they feel confident in teaching robotics and automation, and also partnering with schools and students, especially mentoring those students to get them excited, especially early on, for exciting careers in STEM education and robotics and automation. So it's a very rewarding career to partner with schools and have the long-term relationships with them.
I love that. I love that. And Carrie, please introduce yourself.
Good morning. I'm Carrie Giles, and I'm the National Board President for the Association for Career and Technical Education. And I also serve as a Regional Career Tech Administrator in Ohio. So excited to be here. Thanks for having me.
Oh, absolutely. So I love that we have someone representing from education and then someone representing from technology here on this conversation today. But I've got to know, when I'm talking to manufacturing companies particularly, there seems to still be a very big concern about the skills gap. What, from your perspectives, individual perspectives, are you seeing as far as challenges still facing manufacturing in the skills gap?
You want me?
Oh, yeah.
A couple things come to mind. So technology is moving super fast, and to develop training to support those technologies, to develop a program in the schools to keep up with AI and all the software that's evolving and technologies that are evolving takes time. So I think that in order to overcome that, partnerships with industry and education to bridge that skills gap is super important. But then you have the experienced workers who are starting to retire. So getting the students super excited about these new careers that they don't even know exist is super important as well. So having students mentored by industry leaders and seeing your career path, and that it wasn't always in engineering or it wasn't always in robotics, and you do move around, but also seeing it's not only dull, dirty, and dangerous anymore. It's super exciting. So having students and teachers and parents, super important to get the parents aware of all of this new, exciting, evolving technology in robotics and automation, having them come to automate or do field trips in the industry and watching, different applications for robotics, I think is really important. And then competitions are super cool for the students, because not only are they demonstrating their technical skills, but they're also able to learn, collaborative thinking skills, critical thinking skills, also like teamwork and working through the challenges, problem solving, things like that. So
I love that.
Yeah, and a lot of the same things, but working with all different ages of students. So starting down in the middle grades and all the way up to adults, how do we prepare them for careers that might not exist yet, and get the latest technology into their classrooms so they can be learning on those robots or whatever technology is available for their career field? We see a lot of changes happening, like Christelle said, very quickly. So we have to prepare students for the workforce in that manner. We don't want to walk into a lab that's from the 1970s. We want to walk into a lab that's updated. And one of the ways that we do that is we bring business and industry partners in to be a part of advisory councils so they can learn and so their teachers can learn what's actually happening out in the career fields.
That's very interesting, Carrie. That's a great point of view, because you do have to prepare the workforce for potentially positions that are not yet in existence.
Right.
And that has been a huge challenge, I think, for a lot of folks in workforce development and a lot of education providers and a lot of companies that are struggling to kind of figure out what their personnel needs are going to be over the next decade or so. What are some of the best practices when you're working with companies, when you're kind of advising them on, okay, this is career pathing as best we can, right? What are some of those best practices that you try to share with companies that are seeking to do that?
Sure. Yeah. A lot of times when we work with companies, they want employees right now, right? They say, let's take your best students. We want them out in our companies right now, but really educating them on, we are developing a pipeline, and that pipeline has to be, down, like I said, elementary, middle school, getting students ready and interested in these careers. And I think that has to be a commitment from the employers to be able to, want to work with students and want to get them excited, like Christelle said, about these different careers. And how do we get parents, to buy into, hey, maybe my student, doesn't need to go get a PhD. Maybe they want to work in this career field and they don't need all that training, but they're going to make a really great wage and they're going to change the future. So I think that's part of it too, is getting the parents on board.
Yeah, that is huge. I have an 8-year-old. I'm already trying to get him on the path. You know what I mean? So we're big into robotics. If you see me out later today, you're in a booth, and I'm FaceTiming my kiddo. Just know that I promised him I would show him robots today. So I love that. That's great advice. But Christelle, ABB is on the forefront of a lot of this technology that we're implementing across the industry. Are there any best practices from your point of view on how companies can better adapt to the workforce or predict careers from a long-term perspective?
See, the thing that comes to mind is you have the technical side of things, which I think is great. But then immediately my mind goes to skill versus will, right? So I think as industry, we can't expect to get a high school or a college graduate that checks every single box. Like they're a 4.0 student.
Right.
I mean, there's work that still needs to be done. So if that graduate or, that student, or even if someone is in the workforce and they're an adult, if they have the will and the excitement and the passion for that position, they can learn anything. They just have to ask the questions. They can take the training and we can get them. So it's just realizing that you're not going to get 100% of the skill of these students, but working with them, mentoring them, doing the co-ops and the internships and rotational programs are super important. And getting them to learn the soft skills, like, okay, also email etiquette and then communication skills, and not just chatting online, but calling a customer, calling a colleague. Yes. I think those things are super important. And having, again, that passion to learn is huge. There's students that are book smart, and then there's students that you tell them to do something once and they'll go around, they'll ask all the right questions and they'll get it done way better than the kid that was book smart. That's right. So that's what I think.
I love that.
Yeah.
I love that. I love how enthusiastic we are this morning too. And this is awesome to be joined with two women in the manufacturing industry as well. So yay. Well, thinking about, in more depth from that perspective of best practices for technology and training, one of the questions that I've been asking a lot recently on my podcast, Workforce 4.0, is about how we implement and identify career roles going forward. So is this, for example, if someone is looking to add a job rec to their company, right? We're going to open up a new position, identifying whether or not that role is a human need or a technology need. And this is something, I was in Tulsa last week, and this is something that I asked the VP of HR at a manufacturing plant. So I thought it would be really cool because I got the HR perspective on this. But I thought it would be really cool to ask someone from education and someone as a technology provider this same question. So Carrie, Christelle, what do you think? How are companies identifying roles in the future of work as either a human need or a technology need?
I could go. I think workflow analysis is super important to do. Listening to the customer, figuring out what do they have, what do they need, what challenges do they face, and then asking others in the company, such as HR, operations, the engineering team, just an overall view of what is your input. Do you think this is maybe lack of trained resources that we already have? Or do we have outdated equipment and it is a technology driven need? So that's my feedback.
Excellent. Okay, great.
Yeah.
Great perspective.
Yeah. And I think from an education standpoint, we are really valuing work-based learning opportunities for students. And so they have to be able to go out and work alongside all of these new technologies. And we're hoping that business and industry integrates students into those new career pathway opportunities as they develop things like Christelle said with new roles and opportunities for folks within their companies. So thinking about the student side of it, if we really want to grow a pipeline of employees, we have to incorporate those work-based learning opportunities for our students in our regions and communities to go in there and learn that new technology as it's occurring.
Excellent. Well, I love that feedback, Carrie and Christelle. Thank you so much. Thank you all for joining us here today for this live conversation. Carrie, Christelle, I want to know if folks are out there watching, they want to reach out to you, contact you. What is a good point of contact for each of you?
Sure. I think the best way is through LinkedIn. I know that's becoming a really big way to connect with folks. So Carrie Giles on LinkedIn.
Same, LinkedIn. I have super cool videos that I make in my own time of students and teachers really getting their hands on robotics and automation. So Christelle Keefer, look me up on LinkedIn. I would love to connect. Thank you so much, Ann. And thank you so much, Carrie.
Thank you.
Thank you all. And thank you all for tuning in. We will be back shortly with more Automate Live content.